I don't know if it's just because I can't look in the mirror, so I couldn't see my old skinny photos and then my curvy photos. I couldn't see that. Not gonna lie to you guys, I'm feeling cute today. I don't know if I look cute, but girl is feeling cute, and that's what matters. Confidence from within, my friends. Confidence from within, which is actually a great sentiment to start this video off on. Confidence from within, self-love and self-acceptance on every part of the journey. Because you see it in the title, today I am talking about my weight gain journey. Now, the reason I wanted to do this video is because you see a lot of weight loss videos on YouTube, but you don't see a lot of people talk about how they got there, how they got to the place that they were at, where they chose to want to actively lose the weight. And I think that's a really, really important part of the journey. And I also think when we talk about weight gain, we often talk about it as a negative thing. But as you'll hear in my journey, to me, my weight gain didn't feel negative. And that's why I want to talk about it. I also do want to start this out with a trigger warning. If talking about weight gain, weight loss, weight, eating, food, health, any of that is triggering for you on your journey, please do not watch this video. I'm leaving it up to you to know your own limits and what makes you feel uncomfortable. So I'm putting it out there. This video is going to be about weight gain, and Tuesday's video is going to be about weight loss. So if either of those two topics trigger you, these two videos aren't for you. There's tons of other fun videos on my channel for you to check out. So just wanted to put it out there. All right. Also, yes, I am blonde. This would be shocking for you if you haven't seen my recent video. This one right here. I got my hair done from the beautiful, wonderful Breeza, and she nailed this blonde. At least I'm being told she did. I can't see in the mirror, but everyone seems to tell me I look like a natural blonde. So thank you. Honestly, like, I haven't thought about what I'm gonna say really at all. I've been meaning to make my weight gain journey video for probably at least 6 months. I've been talking about wanting to make this, but I haven't because honestly, I am scared. I am concerned to talk about this. I don't want to trigger anybody. I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but all I'm gonna do is speak my authentic truth, and hopefully it resonates with some of you. So I guess where I should start is when it started. So I gained about 25 pounds in 3 years. From 23 to 26, I gained about 25 pounds. Now I'm 4'10" and a half, so I'm very petite. I'm very short, and so if you can think, 25 pounds on somebody who's 4'10" is kind of like 50 pounds on somebody who's 5'5", just because there's less space for the weight to distribute. So realistically, I went from a 00 to a size 4, which, you know, is quite a jump in size. And yeah, so that was kind of like the weight gain time frame and the impact it had on my clothing size. I was always the same size. I was always a 00. If I would gain a little bit of weight, I was a 0. My whole life, I stayed between 85 pounds to 92 pounds. That was kind of my 7-pound weight fluctuation. When I was more close to 92 pounds, I would wear a 0. When I was closer to 85 pounds, I would wear a 00. 85 pounds is technically underweight for my height. When you are 4'10", the current healthy weight range for a 4'10" woman is 91 pounds to 119, and for 4'11" is 94 pounds to 123. So technically, yes, being around 85 pounds, I was considered underweight, but none of my doctors ever called it into attention, and nobody ever found it to be a problem. I think I had like one adult in my life one time tell me they thought I would look better if I gained a bit of weight, but I was never 85 pounds because I tried to be. When I was 14, I went blind and I became extremely depressed. And you know, you hear a lot of people talk about emotional eaters, and I kind of joke and say I'm an emotional uneater. Like, it's like it just has the opposite effect on me. When I'm anxious, when I'm stressed, when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm bored, I don't eat. I'm just not hungry. I'm not a bored eater. I'm not a stress eater. I'm not a sad eater. I never have been. That just seems to be a part of my body that kind of like shuts down. So when I was 14 and I was depressed, I really struggled to eat. You know, it was something we had to work on a lot. So I would drink when I was in grade 8, like the Ensure drinks. I would have protein bars, water. I would try to have fruit smoothies, things that had protein, things that had nutrients that I could get into my body, because I really struggled to eat solid food. My stomach also, because of all of just the emotions and the hormones that I was dealing with at the time, I started having really bad IBS or irritable bowel syndrome, which runs in my family. We have a lot of gluten sensitivity in my family. My mom had IBS her whole life. I was really sensitive to dairy growing up, so my body just wasn't really handling eating very well. So I started seeing a nutritionist when I was 14 years old. And at that point, we removed a lot from my diet. I removed sugars, refined sugars, I should say. We removed gluten, we removed dairy, and my health, like, bounced back to life. I could eat food again. I was feeling really good. I wasn't getting cramps. I wasn't getting stomach pains. I wasn't getting nausea. I was feeling a lot better. But I wasn't eating things like dairy and gluten. I wasn't eating sugar. I was on a very clean, healthy, organic diet. And even though I was eating lots of food, I wasn't gaining weight. I was staying around that 85 to 92 pound weight range just because I was eating healthy. And then, you know, as I got older, you know, into my early 20s, usually honestly, like, I was around 92 if I was mentally healthy, and I was around 85 if I was mentally unwell. So in my early 20s, I plummeted back down to more of the 85 pound weight range. That's how much I weighed when I got Gallup. I remember, because he weighed 85 pounds and I weighed 85 pounds, and I thought it was really funny that we literally weighed the exact same amount. But at the time, I was on anxiety meds. I had PTSD, generalized anxiety with OCD tendencies, and again, like, when my mental health goes, I can't eat. I really, really struggle, and I just basically, I have to get in my calories through liquids and try to get as much nutrients into me as I can to maintain health. But when you're eating like that, you're not really gaining weight, of course. So none of it was ever because I wanted to be skinny. I was never concerned about my weight. Maybe I was never concerned about my weight because I always just maintained a very small weight, or very low weight, very small size. If anything, I was actually quite concerned about developing an eating disorder. I had a very good friend I still have a very good friend who has battled anorexia for 20 years now. And I have seen her be hospitalized many times. I have seen her on her deathbed. I've seen the way her journey has revolved. Her life has revolved around recovery and relapse, and it's very hard to see. She's an incredible person, and I've always seen that, and being somebody who struggles with mental illness and knowing that eating disorders are a mental illness, I've always been concerned that because I don't eat when my mental illness is at its worst, that could slip into the slippery slope of becoming an eating disorder. But weight was never an issue for me in my mind. Control over food was never an issue for me in my mind. Like, I wanted to eat. Let me tell you, I would want to eat so bad, wouldn't I, Mom?
Yes.
I was always really upset that I could not eat, and I would try so hard. I'd be like, okay, I think right now maybe I could have like some French fries and chicken nuggets, like really simple foods, and my mom would like run out and get it for me if I felt like that was what I could eat at the time. Like, we would really always try, but my weight just always maintained that size. And when I was 21, I went through a breakup. I was still living at home with my parents, and I continued to be around that 85, 86, 87 mark. I began getting really into fitness because I just had more time now that I was single for the first time in 2.5 years. And I was really into Pilates. I was really into yoga. I was working out multiple times a week. I was continuing to eat a gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free diet, very homemade foods because I was living with my parents. So, you know, I maintained that very fit, slim body. When I was 23, like I said, is when my weight gain really began. I think part of it is hitting my mid-20s. I'm not sure, maybe this isn't true, but from what I've heard from like other friends and stuff, and a little bit of the research that I've done is like kind of when you're in your mid-20s, for women, that's often like when baby making time really ramps up and your hips start to expand a little bit again. It's almost like a second puberty. And you know, you're getting older, your metabolism starts to slow down a bit. So I think all of those things played a factor in it, like hitting my mid-20s and the weight gain beginning. But also at that time, I moved to the US, and food is just different here. It is. It's very different than the food in Canada. I know we're just across the border, but there is a lot more hidden stuff in food here. There's a lot more hidden sugars. There's a lot more hidden salts. There's a lot more hidden thickeners, fillers, and even though we tried to eat healthy, I mean, we still, 2.5 years in, haven't found good mayonnaise in the US. If anybody has recommendations, let us know. But yeah, I think that played a factor, moving to the US, just food being different. All new food brands, all new restaurants to try. You know, I was exploring new foods here. I was also traveling a lot and going to a lot of work parties where you're not eating normal things. You're eating little hors d'oeuvres, and it's open bars, so you're drinking a bit more alcohol, which is high in sugars and calories.
The camera.
Gallup is?
Yeah, he hit it against it.
Get up. We love you, Gab. Lavender's on one side of me and Gal's on the other.
There we go.
All the kids. The other thing is, because I was feeling so much better digestive system wise, and I was feeling so much better emotionally, like honestly, and this is why I say to me my weight gain wasn't a negative. I was happy. I was really, really, really happy. Honestly, when I moved to LA, it's probably the first time in my life, like I was truly happy in all aspects of my life. I was truly content with who I am, with my career, with my friendships, with my lifestyle, with where I live. Like I felt when I moved from Canada, I left a lot of negativity behind. I love my country. I love my city, but I went through a lot of trauma there, and leaving that behind and starting fresh was really big for my mental health. So I started eating more. My appetite skyrocketed. I've never been somebody with a big appetite even when I was mentally healthy. I'm just a petite person, so my mom and I would always split meals if we were at a restaurant, or I would take half home for later. But all of a sudden I was able to eat like a whole meal to myself. I was always hungry. I was always craving things. I don't know if it was a hormone imbalance. I don't know what it was. Because I was feeling digestively healthy, I started eating a bit more gluten, a bit more dairy. I was traveling really, really, really heavily. So I was eating a lot at restaurants, or being, kind of forced to just eat whatever was available to me at airports. The amount of airplane food I have eaten in the last 2.5 years is absurd, which is definitely like not nutritionally balanced or that great for you, I'm sure. So, I think there's a lot of things that contributed to the weight gain, but I think ultimately, honestly, it was just like my happiness. And that's why my weight gain never bothered me. I never viewed it as a negative thing. I never viewed it as a bad thing. I don't know if it's just because I can't look in the mirror, so I couldn't see the before and after. I couldn't see my old skinny photos and then my curvy photos. I couldn't see that, so it didn't bother me. Obviously, I could feel that I went from having a flat tummy with abs to having a pooch, and I went from a 00 to a 4. Like, I knew I had gained a lot of weight, but it just didn't bother me. The only time I would feel self-conscious is if other people commented on my weight gain, but I didn't really myself feel bad about it. And ultimately, I didn't choose to lose the weight because of aesthetics. For me, choosing to lose weight wasn't about how I looked to other people, wasn't about how I looked in a bikini, wasn't about how I looked in the mirror, of course. It was about health. And, I was diagnosed with low protein S in my liver when I was 16. It's a blood clotting condition. I am more prone to blood clots than other people. And upon that diagnosis, I was 85 pounds at the time, or maybe 87. And he told me that I needed to try to stay as close to that weight as possible for the rest of my life. And just avoid anything that can trigger blood clots. So for me, that means I cannot take birth control pills. It means I can't smoke, which I never have anyway, so that's fine. I have to wear compression socks when I fly, things like that to avoid blood clots, and one of those things is just keeping my weight down. So ultimately for me, earlier this year, I made the decision to put more effort into it and try something a little more drastic and a little more strict to lose the weight, and my goal wasn't to lose all 25 pounds, it was mainly probably to lose like 15 pounds. And ultimately, my whole life I've been a little underweight to kind of the lowest end of my weight range. And now I was at the highest end of my weight range. So I was still within healthy range, but if I was continuing to gain, I was going to go into the overweight category, which for me with my blood clotting condition isn't healthy and is not okay. And that's ultimately why I was like, okay, I need to do something, because I was looking at the trajectory of my weight gain, and I was only continuing to gain. Nothing was slowing it down. It was continuing to just become a snowball effect, gaining, 4 pounds every couple months. And if I just continued to let myself do that, I was going to become overweight. And for my health, that wasn't something I wanted. So ultimately, that was why I made the decision, to try to lose the weight. And I know some of you will potentially say, like, you don't think I looked that big or anything like that. And I'm not saying I thought I was really big. Like I said, I was still in healthy weight range. I was just on the top end. But my weight gain was significant. It wasn't a small amount on especially on a short frame. And I think I know how to dress a pear-shaped body well. I know how to dress for my body to highlight what I want and to minimize what I want. So I think between that and the fact that most of my weight gain tends to be hips, thighs, and butt, I definitely did gain it chest, arms, face, back. I did gain it everywhere, but mostly the most significant gain is thighs, hips, and butt. It's where I've always gained weight. So if you mainly looked at my photos or videos that were kind of torso, you also probably wouldn't have noticed how significant it was. So there are a number of reasons why potentially, I don't know, maybe you didn't think I had a weight problem or had gained that much, but ultimately the scale doesn't lie. My clothing size doesn't lie. I had gained weight. And I I wanted to get on top of it before it became unhealthy for me. As I said, it wasn't about the aesthetic, and that's why I ultimately wanted to make this video. To me, my weight gain wasn't a negative thing, but it would have become negative if I became overweight, and because it would have been unhealthy. And so that's why I ultimately kind of hit pause and tried to step back. I loved myself and I accepted myself and I felt whole and beautiful at every weight I've been at, you know? So I hope that you can forgive yourself as well, wherever you're at on your weight journey, that you can forgive where you're at and love and accept it. And I think honestly, the only way to lose weight in a healthy manner is to be loving and accepting of where you're at in your journey. I think hating your body, hating yourself, doesn't do any good and only makes you hold on to weight more. So I encourage you to learn to love and accept where you're at in your weight journey and focus on health, not the aesthetics. And maybe because I can't see in the mirror, I have it a little easier that way. I don't know. But that's all I have to say for this video, because the weight loss portion of this is going to be on Tuesday. So make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you hear when that video comes out. Again, just like this video, it's a video I'm concerned to make because I ultimately know weight loss is different for everybody. What worked for me might not work for everybody, but so many of you have been asking for it. So I do want to share that with you. Yeah. That's all I have to say. If you want to see my healthy bleached hair care routine, how to keep your bleached or chemically treated hair healthy, click up here. And if you want to see, I don't know, some other Molly Burke video, then click up here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to love and accept yourself wherever you're at, and I'll see you next time. Bye.